This thing, all right. Call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Rankin.
Here.
Vice Mayor Walter.
Here.
Councilmember Woolridge.
Here.
Councilmember Hawkins.
Here.
Councilmember Gleen.
Here.
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Wall.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if we could tonight for a moment of silence, and we'll go into the Pledge of Allegiance afterwards, but if we could keep in mind past Mayor Vicki Kilwinger, who passed away this last week. Vicki was a friend of Florence, not only being an ex-mayor, one that beat me, she was my friend. I think she's a friend to a lot of you. She was dedicated to Florence Women's Club, and her friends, we all know who we know about her. So if we keep her in our prayers and thoughts during this moment of silence, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As a bit of housekeeping before we get into the agenda, on the agenda under item N.
New business N.
What is it?
New business N.
Under new business N, that has been removed from the agenda. This time we'll go to call to the public for public comment on issues within the jurisdiction of the town council. Council rules limit public comment to 3 minutes. Individual council members may respond to criticism made by those commenting. May ask staff to review a matter raised or may ask that a matter be put on a future agenda. However, members of the council shall not discuss or take any action on any matter during an open call to the public unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. There are sign-up sheets in the back. I have two. First one is Charles Smith.
I'm Charles Smith. My residence is at...
Can you speak into the mic? Thank you, Mr. Smith.
No problem. My name is Charles Smith. I'm a resident at 5492 East Athena Road. It's mailing address in Florence, in Pinal County. To the mayor and to the council, I have 3 questions in regard to ordinance that's on the agenda today, 633-15. The question is there or are there possibilities of any litigation coming from the 24 PDA parties if this resolution passes? Is there any mutual agreement to terminate all of these agreements with the PDA's parties, that is? Will the residents be informed of the nature of the vesting interests of the residents of the town of Florence and the residents of the unincorporated you attempted to annex? And Section 4 of the ordinance 633-15 in the agenda today deems that it is unnecessary for the peace, health, and safety of the town of Florence residents to justify there is an emergency here. What are the factors that contribute to the peace, health, safety of both assuming town residents and the unincorporated residents? Will the public be informed about what particularly are the factors to regard this as an emergency, not just vaguely that it's for the peace, health of the residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Brad Hinton.
Mayor Rakin, council members, my name is Brad Hinton with Eldorado Holdings. I'm speaking in regards to the annexation ordinances and resolutions that are up for possible rescinding. Eldorado Holdings represents Eldorado Arizona Farms, which has properties in both annexations. We recognize the efforts by the city and what's been going on. We obviously would like to be in the town of Florence, but understanding what's been going on this past year, which has been painful, I'm sure you all know. I think I've been to 3 hearings. Understanding all of that, we could support the rescinding of all these items, the ordinances, and the two resolutions for our annexation agreements, provided that you pursue petitions for annexations soon, and for various areas that represent both sides of the tracks, which would be in our case, and recognizing the efforts that the time and money spent on the agreements and preliminary plats and such, that you would honor those, or when we move forward with the new annexations, that we will keep those the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Does any other member of the public have anything they'd like to say? Any other member of the public have anything they'd like to say? No. Okay, at this time I'll close the call to the public.
Item 6, presentations. Presentation of the 2015 Arizona Parks and Recreation Association's Outstanding Facility Award for Padilla Park. Mayor, would you like to come down and receive the award?
Yeah.
Mayor, council members, last week at the Arizona Parks and Recreation Association State Conference, 27 different awards were given out over various categories, and the town of Florence was fortunate enough to receive the Outstanding Facility Award for populations 25,000 to 100,000 for Padilla Park. To qualify for this year's award, a facility had to be opened within the last year, construction completed and open to the public within the last year. So as you know, we finished up in October, so we were eligible. It was a wonderful award ceremony down at the historic Fox Theater in downtown Tucson. So this year's awards kind of had a little bit of an Oscar theme, and it was great to be recognized. And the first of what I hope are many awards for the town of Florence. In addition to the various recreation staff that were in attendance, including John Nixon, our recreation coordinator, Mark Eckhoff and Gilbert Olguin were able to attend and be present at that award ceremony. So again, very exciting. We're very proud of Padilla Park, as I'm sure you are and the staff is. So congratulations, Mayor. Here is our award. It's heavy.
Test. I feel like the male version of Sally Fields. You like me, you like it. Brian, what are you laughing about? On behalf of the town council and myself, thank you very much for this park down here. We went through a lot to get it. We've taken some heat on it because of the splash pad, but I can tell you right now the kids like it. The kids really like it. This is an award that's worthy of the town of Florence for what we've done down there and through your department. I'd just like to say at this time, I'd like to again thank the Padilla family for making this possible by making a good offer on a good price to the town. And I know that Ophelia, wherever she is thinking about it, and she's up there and she is proud as heck because that's the Padilla Park. Ophelia Padilla, who many of us knew was a nice, beautiful, wonderful lady. And you've got a nice, beautiful, wonderful park down there. And we just want all the citizens to enjoy it, take care of it, and we're going to be around a while longer, I hope I am, to enjoy it and all the festivities that we're having down there. So keep up the good work, and again, on behalf of the town council and myself, thank you and your staff for everything you've done. Appreciate it.
The next item on the agenda is we're going to have an update on the Library and Recreation Complex project from our Parks and Rec Director, Mr. Hughes.
Mayor, Council, at the last council meeting, a request was made to have a project update, and we're happy to do that for you tonight. I went ahead and took some pictures last week and a couple today just to kind of give everybody an idea of where the project is at. Obviously, the Aquatic Center opened up on July 4th and has been up and running since. We've had very good attendance, and we've had no problems with that facility so far. So this update is pretty much focuses on the library and community center and sports courts and soccer fields. So with that, let's see. All right. So just a couple of views here. Main Street is looking south. Northeast corner of the building. Obviously, that's still pretty bare. They're still working on curb and gutter and getting ready to do some landscaping, and they'll be paving the street and the main entry off of Main Street later this week on Thursday. The other picture there is the north entry, and you can see we've got some trees and shrubs and things in there. We're just waiting to put in some grass until they finish some things along the front, but that's almost complete. This is the west sidewalk on the west side of the Library and Community Center. And again, you can see a lot of the trees and shrubs and the decomposed granite are in, and the sidewalk. So that is almost wrapped up there. There's some gaps there. You can see where some pavers go. And then the biggest, most obvious thing, which is right on the corner of First and Main as you're coming in, is where the plaza is going. So that's probably one of the last things that will get wrapped up on this project. Here's a view of the main entry, the exterior, and then the same view from inside. This is the interior plaza, and as you can see, this has got some of the furniture and things. The floor is polished and finished up. The rooms in the background, you can see the glass for the recreation rooms A, B, and C, and all the ceiling tiles and light fixtures are done in there. So that room is just needs to be cleaned up, really. They've actually added more furniture just today. Here is a view of the combined recreation rooms A, B, and C as one big room, and that picture was taken on Friday, and you can see we've got the multi-purpose flooring in there and some cabinetry down on the end. And then over the weekend, they threw up the partitions that separate those rooms. So I took a picture this morning showing that separation, so how those rooms will be able to be divided and used as 3 different rooms. This is the Ruggles rooms 1 and 2, which are the general government rooms for general government meetings. You can see the tables and chairs are all in there and were being unboxed when we took this picture. The partitions are in that room, and this room just today has actually gotten cleaned up and all the furniture set in place, so almost complete there as well. This is an interior view looking north towards the adult collection in the library. As you can see, all the shelving and things has already been put in place. All the light fixtures, ductwork, finishes on the beams are complete. So that is looking pretty good. Here is a view of the children's computer area and some of the children's area furniture. That is really short furniture. It's really hard to tell from this picture, but it's pretty tiny, and those are cute little chairs. Here is a view of the shelving in the adult collection and a picture of, I'm sorry, this is mislabeled, it's not the teen room, it's actually the tech room. And that's where there'll be computers and some other things that the kids will be able to use. Here's a small study area. We have a couple of areas like that on the left. And then picture on the right is the library director's office. Family restroom had the toilet in there. They were waiting on a sink on that. And then the women's restroom, all the partitions and things are in, and they're just finishing up some counter work over there. Another office, general government office, all set up. The conference room off the main lobby area. Just needs a TV in there for presentations. General government office space, there's some cubicles there, and then the recreation office space, more cubicles. Shared office space, copier, and then recreation staff area. And then here is a view of the football and soccer fields. We're a little concerned about the way the grass is coming in there, but it seems to be sprouting a little bit more every day, but we're working with our landscape architect on that project to make sure that that comes in, and if we have to go over it again with another thing of seed, the contractor's willing to do that. So we've been putting down as much water as is required this time of year. It was hydroseeded, just not quite coming in as well as we'd hoped. Tennis courts and pickleball courts, virtually complete. They're locked up right now. The only thing we were waiting on is to install the nets on those 4 courts. So those could probably be ready as soon as those nets go up. We can open them to the public. So all ready to go there. A couple of key dates. The library and the recreation staff are moving in this week, trying to get things organized. I think the books are coming later this week from the old library. We're hoping to be open to the public August 31st or sooner. As you can see from the photos, the interior is virtually complete. Most of what we see from the outside is really just what needed to be wrapped up, and that was because of the relocation of the skid canals and some other things with the landscaping. And then the grand opening celebration is set for October 3rd. That's a Saturday. And although the building will be open sooner, that is the date that we plan to do an official celebration at not only the library and community center, but also the aquatic center, the sports fields, the sport courts. So again, it's coming along rather quickly. It's just a lot of finish work here at the end. The contractor has really been able to kind of step up once we got past a few hurdles, and they should be able to get us open here in a couple weeks. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Does any member of the council have any questions, Brian? Go ahead.
How are we moving all of the books and all of the materials and everything over?
I'm going to direct that to Rose. She's handling the move of the library.
The books are being moved by a book relocation company, so they'll be completing that by the end of the week. As for the office materials, we are moving those in-house with cooperation of facilities and a little help from Parks and Rec as well.
Excellent, thank you.
Well, Brian, thank you very much for the update. Just amazing to see it on pictures. I can just wait to see it fully staffed, equipped. Another plus for the town of Florence. I'm glad to see this go through. I know that you and Charles put in a lot of time and work on it, but I'd like to thank Low Mountain too, who really came to bat for us on different ways that we out there with this to keep it somewhat in budget. Yes. Again, the library and community center, it's just great. It really is. I think it's going to be the stepping stone for future development down in the North Florence area, plus the rest of the area. So again, on behalf of the town council and myself, thank you very much for getting this done. Just keep at it and waiting for the grand opening.
We will, Mayor. We're just as excited as you all to get it open and get it available to the public. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Item C, presentation by the Greater Florence Chamber of Commerce recognizing Main Street Family Practice as the Business of the Month.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. This month's August Florence Chamber of Commerce Business of the Month, the owner and founder, Dr. Laraga. I knew I'd kill that.
Mario.
Dr. Dario.
Dario.
Dario, there you go. Everybody knows. Is a fifth-generation Florence native whose dream has always been to practice medicine in his hometown. He and his wife, Beth, named the clinic not because it's located on Main Street, but because the name represents a quality of service associated with home. They want patients to be people, not numbers, and for them to feel at home each time they come in for an appointment. Main Street Family Practice providers are your hometown doctors. Please join me in congratulating Main Street Family Practice August Business of the Month.
Dario, please.
Well, okay. Thank you very much for this award. This is great. I mean, what can I say? This is something I've always wanted to do. I had the dream since I was 4 years old to become a physician and to be able to come back to my hometown and take care of the people whom I grew up with, and they place their trust in me and their faith in me to take care of them and their families is a great honor indeed. And to have the support of my wife and my family to right there at my side to be able to do this is truly a wonderful opportunity. I couldn't have done it, of course, without the love and support of my parents who gave me the spirit of entrepreneurship, and also for my mentor who was here for many, many years, who many of you know, Dr. Oscar Moreno, who has since left us, but he definitely paved the road for me and gave me a direction which to go. So thank you to all the citizens of Florence and to the Chamber for this honor. Thank you very much.
You know, Dario, I remember when you first, well, I remember you when you were still small. But for a Florence kid to go out into the world and become a doctor, then come back to his own community, not only you, but any doctor that does that, it shows a little bit of love for the community, just not for your pocketbook, but for the people that you take care of. And I know that you want me in there, but I'm still kind of running from that. No, you stop that. He's wanted to take care of me like people my age need to get taken care of, but we won't go that far. But Dario, thank you very much for sticking with us. You know what, through good times and bad times, you've stayed here and treated the people of Florence. And again, on behalf of the town council and myself, thank you very much for being a good professional businessman and a wonderful doctor. Okay?
Dr. Dario, why don't you give us a lesson on how to pronounce your last name?
Well, how I grew up pronouncing it was Lizarraga. So, I know. You probably can say that after a couple of beers. But as someone who grew into the name, I'll let my... Yeah.
Lizarraga.
See? So, hey, if my wife Beth can say it, anybody can say it.
Good. Thank you.
But thank you. Thank you once again for this award. Thank you.
And I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of our staff, too. I think we have 16 staff members now, and we started with 2.
Oh, good.
So
Great.
we've really grown, and I appreciate the award. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7, consent. All items on the consent agenda will be handled by a single vote as part of the consent agenda unless a council member or a member of the public objects at the time the agenda item is called. 7A, Resolution Number 1529-15, adoption of a resolution of the Town of Florence, Pinal County, Arizona, adopting the Parks and Recreation 2015 mission, vision, and values for the Parks and Recreation Department of the Town of Florence, Arizona. Item B, Resolution Number 1534-15, Adoption of a resolution of the Town of Florence, Pinal County, Arizona, approving and authorizing Mayor Tom J. Rankin, Interim Town Manager Lisa Garcia, and Finance Director Gabriel Garcia to act as signatories for the transactions of business on the Town of Florence banking accounts and declaring an emergency. Item C, issuance of a proclamation declaring 2015 as Child Support Awareness Month. Item D, approval of a change order request number 1 through 4 with Courier Construction, Inc. for a total of $14,998.87 for a total project cost not to exceed $1,564,182.87. Item E, approval of change order number 2 with Low Mountain Construction, Inc. to increase the number of days for completion to 294 days for the Library Recreation Complex Design Build contract. There is no increase in fiscal impact. Item F, approval of change order number 2 with Garney Construction for a credit of $32,084 for a total project cost reduced to $1,691,358 and extending the project completion date to October 30th, 2015. Item G, approval of change order request 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, and 9 with McCain Construction, Inc. for a total of $33,840 for a project cost not to exceed $717,434. Item H, approval of change order number 1 with Visas Engineering Construction for additional work associated with change order request during construction of the Main Street Extension temporary road access for a total of $13,500 for a total project cost not to exceed $252,500. Item I, approval of a lease agreement with Florence Mosaic Church of the Nazarene, owners of the Florence Fudge Company for Suite 101 of the Silver King Marketplace. Item J, approval of a lease with Victor FIMBRES, doing business as Silver King for Suite 201 in the Silver King Marketplace. Item K, approval of the July 6th, July 13th, July 20th, and July 27th council minutes. Item I, receive and file the following boards and commission minutes. Item 1, the June 24th, 2015 Historic District Advisory Board minutes. Item 2, the June 18th, 2015 Planning and Zoning Commission's minutes. Mayor and members of council, that is your consent agenda for this evening.
Does any member of the council have anything they'd like taken off the consent agenda?
I need to have the July 13 council minutes taken off because I have 2 corrections.
I'd like to have item H taken off.
Item what?
H.
H.
And and Becky, what do you want, K?
Okay, on page 2 of 12, in the minutes it states that I said $25,000 was the amount of the total assessment, and what I had said that was incorrect. The actual assessments are calculated on the total amount of the assessment plus the given interest, so each one is probably different, so that's how you calculate them. $25,000 was incorrect. And then also on page 9 of 12, it needs to be restated to say that you can increase the levy by 2% every year, not the levy is 2%.
We can make those corrections.
You make those corrections. We don't have to take it off the agenda then. Any others? Okay, we need a motion.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the removal of item H.
And the corrections.
Corrections in item K for the July 13th council meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item H and with the corrections to the minutes of July 13th. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item H.
Yes, there seems to be some confusion about the Main Street extension. when we talked about this originally, it was my understanding that there was going to be some signage out on the highway.
That what?
There was going to be some signage out on the highway saying that was, identifying that the main street.
I've asked for the chairman of the State Highway,
Kelly Anderson?
yeah, but what's the State Highway Board, Transportation Board? I've asked for the chairman to come over and meet with me so I can point out these things. We're working with an engineer down in Tucson on it, but I kind of wanted Kelly Anderson, who's the old mayor of Maricopa, who sits as the chairman of the State Transportation Committee right now. I want him to come over and take a look at it and to get kind of, so we can push him along a little bit. Wayne, do you have any input or update on any of the signage? Because I think besides the signage, we also need to have a turn lane put in there for the northbound traffic.
Well, basically on the signage, that would certainly be all in ADOT's jurisdiction. I think the only thing that we need to be concerned about, and has been brought up this week or last week, is concerning what will the signage be, what will it indicate, whether it indicate the facility or a street name or anything like that. So that's one thing that's still up in the air, at least on the part of the town. Second, on the
I need to interrupt for a second. I need to ask everyone to speak directly into their microphones. I'm having a difficult time picking up the sound on the computer system. It's showing low computer volume, so we want to make sure everyone's speaking directly into their mics.
in regards to the left turn lane, it's not warranted. It wasn't warranted by the traffic impact analysis. And actually, when I reviewed the traffic impact analysis after the it was consummated, even the southbound lane wasn't warranted. So there's no warrant to allow a left turn lane on the northbound State Highway 79 at this time. We had projected that one would be in a schematic plan about 18 months ago, as I recall, and however, ADOT said one was not needed. The only thing that is needed is a decel lane.
I think we ought to invite ADOT Transportation Board and the district engineer down here at 5 o'clock during the winter and let them figure out if it's warranted or not. Well, that's the thing working with ADOT. Their whole looking at is traffic accidents and stuff like that to warrant things.
Well, I just think if we're having this, our dedication on October, whatever date that was, it'd be nice to have some signs out there telling people how to get to
Well, I'd like to see a sign out there saying, historical downtown business district, something along those lines, pointing it out to the merchants downtown.
Yeah, and our new aquatic center and library.
Town facilities or whatever, Wayne.
We could, if I could, Mayor Rankin, Vice Mayor Walter, and Councilman Anderson, if I could, we could propose something based on what the MUTCD requires, and certainly it is informational type signs that could be marked in blue or green, which is typical of any recreation type facility or any business type facility. So we could pursue that with the development engineer for MADOT.
Okay. Well, let's. We got another meeting coming up. The first meeting in September. Can you give us an update on what you've done with ADOT?
Okay, will do.
Is that okay, John?
I'll make a motion that we approve item H.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item H of the consent agenda. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Item 8, new business. Item 8A, discussion approval, disapproval of regulating the farmers markets vendors under ordinance number 54-111. This is for action. Ms. Evans?
Mayor Rankin, members of the council. The town of Florence has had a farmers market on our main street since 2002. And since 2003, Any permit fees or application fees that may have been charged to the vendors participating in the market have been forgiven by the town. And, thank you. In 2011, the Town Council enacted Ordinance 549-10, and that governs or regulates special events in the town of Florence. Since that time, all of the special events that occur within the town limits have come under this ordinance and been enforced per the ordinance, with the exception of the farmers market. So staff is asking that the town council approve regulating the farmers market under this ordinance. And I know it's been kind of a sensitive subject over the years, but staff has been working with some of the vendors longtime vendors of this farmers market to come to terms with this and how we can support the market better and allow it to grow and hopefully make it something that's more of a destination. So we have the one piece with enforcing the ordinance as it pertains to the farmers market, but staff is continuing to work with these farmers market vendors to hopefully maintain the market on Saturday mornings, but work with them to enforce rules and regulations over and above this ordinance that will help that market to grow, and also to hopefully charge a stall fee that can generate revenue so that the market can be marketed appropriately, and that will help facilitate its success. So well, this thing is not cooperating tonight. We're going to wing it. Unless you can help me, Dan. Thank you. Can you help me advance it? Okay. That's okay. So what we're proposing to do, and I've been working with Ms. Debbie Cairns, who's a long-time vendor, along with a couple others, and they seem to be pretty responsive to this new idea, these changes to the farmers market on Saturday mornings. But we have several details to work out. So we're looking at doing a seasonal market each Saturday from 8 a.m. until 1 p.m. And I've developed a budget of around $5,000 that's very conservative revenue-wise, and all that revenue would come from either merchandise sales at the market or through the generation of stall fees as vendors come in to sell their wares. And with the revenue that is raised, we have a budget for marketing that's pretty extensive. It covers print and digital marketing, as well as banners, and the market also needs new signage. The town purchased A-frame signs for it probably 10 years ago now, and they're worn out and need to be replaced. So all of the money that's generated, by the market would be for its benefit, so to help it become sustainable. The other alternative, would be to hold perhaps a Friday afternoon market to take advantage of some of the office workers that are here in town. But the overall recommendation is to maintain the Saturday market to see how successful we can make it. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any member of the council have any questions?
I have a couple of questions. Is Areola Square part of the Parks and Recreation Department?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
So Parks and Rec maintains it through their normal maintenance. Who sponsors the farmers market? Is there a single person or an organization representing the vendors?
Mayor Rankin, members of the council, that's been kind of the issue for many, many years now. That used to come, or in the beginning, the Chamber of Commerce allowed for the market to come under its umbrella. And I'm not certain exactly how many years, but it's been quite a few years that the Chamber has not been involved in the market at all. So there's just been a group of some very dedicated vendors that show up each week, and people who support the market, that have come time and time again. And so they really have had no sponsorship, no support for the past several years.
If I could, Karen, the farmer's market was started with the Chamber of Commerce, and there was a lady that directed it, and that was Chris Cox. Chris really pushed for getting a farmer's market. I think her vision was produce, farm product is what her vision was to begin with. And that didn't go off real well, and then over the years, Chris was no longer involved in it, and the chamber didn't have anything to do with it, so there was the people that were actually the vendors there kind of took it upon themselves to patrol themselves, watch what was brought in.
Yeah.
And that's
I think it's wonderful. I'd love to see it expanded to more produce, especially since we have a dearth of that in the area. I have one last question, and that is, do the vendors pay the 2% sales tax that the town imposes?
Mayor Rankin, members of the council, most of the vendors, well, actually, they will be responsible for the transaction privilege tax. As far as the actual vendor permit, the town charges $10 per vendor, but most, if not all of the vendors would probably qualify for an exemption and not have to pay that particular fee, but they are still expected to pay the TPT.
Great, thank you very much.
And that 546-10 ordinance, that's different. I mean, that's the one that requires the $10 and the other doesn't?
Mayor Rankin, members of the council, the special event permit fee is $10, and that is included in the ordinance, that requirement to pay that fee, and it also includes the exemption.
Okay, because I see it's talking 549-10, and then it goes down to 546-10. On the second paragraph on background and discussion, see right in the middle, 546?
That's a typo. It should be
Typo?
549.
Well, that's why I was just wanting to make sure it's clear, so we know. Okay.
Does another member of the council have anything? Which staff will be handling it?
Mayor Rankin, members of the council, I believe it will be me.
You're going to be down here on Saturdays?
At least in the beginning, I plan to be, yes. So, and working with Miss Debbie Cairns, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, but we'll be working together. I look at this as kind of a team effort and trying to get this, off the ground again and give them the support that they need.
I think the other thing that we need to be aware of is if it becomes successful and continues to grow, rubbish is going to be needed picked up during the week. I'd hate to see our trash cans down there stuffed full on Saturday and blow all over Saturday night and Sunday and not be picked up. So I think we need to make sure and make arrangements on that.
Yes, Mayor Rankin.
Any others? Hearing none, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 549-10.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 549-10. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Something just turned off? Oh, that's good. Item B, ordinance number 633-15. Discussion, approval, disapproval of an ordinance of the Town of Florence, Pinal County, Arizona, rescinding ordinance number 619-14 with regard to the Magic Ranch annexation petition number 2003-01, providing for severability and declaring an emergency.
Lisa, are these the ones that we can take all at one time?
No, sir, this is the ordinance.
Okay.
So this is the first thing that council has to determine. Staff has not made a recommendation for this ordinance. It is up to council to make that determination. There were questions that were posed, and with your permission, I would like to do my best to answer those. One, what is the emergency? First, we'll talk about how emergency is declared, and then we'll say what staff's emergency is, thinking behind the emergency, and then I'll have our town attorney clarify if I say anything wrong. First of all, in order to declare an emergency, it has to be an affirmative vote of 3/4 or 6 out of 7 council members elected to the town council. And it must also be approved by the mayor. So the mayor would have to vote yes for this, as well as 6 council members would have to go vote yes to be an emergency. Why did the town of Florence put the emergency clause on this annexation? It's because we're party to a lawsuit. And so in order to give the court notification, proper notification, if the council does choose to rescind this ordinance, the emergency clause is in place. Is that correct?
Mayor, members of the council.
Green.
Mayor, members of the council, and the effect of an emergency or declaring an emergency is that the ordinance or resolution, as the case may be, becomes immediately operative. So it's approved and it's immediately effective. That's the difference between having an ordinance adopted without an emergency and one adopted with an emergency.
Okay, the next question is, it states inside of the RCA, request for council action, if the council feels, let me get it so I can make sure. If the council feels that it's in the best interest of the citizen in Florence, as well as the citizen in the annexation area, to rescind this ordinance. When staff wrote this, our thinking of one of the reasons why council may consider it in the best interest of both Florence Incorporated and Florence Unincorporated is that when we file up the next annexation, staff has learned so much with this annexation that we will have it properly documented and make sure that every step that we're taking, that we have pictures, we have affidavits, and we have everything in a row to make sure that it is completely unchallengeable, what we would consider unchallengeable. And that would be our goal, is to make sure that we have the good faith of the citizens of Florence and the good faith of any community that we try to annex in the future, knowing that we've done it the proper way. And if Cliff would like to add anything else?
Mayor, members of the council, just an item of clarification. I think when Lisa was reading the annexation petition number, she might have said 2003-01. Just for the record, it's the 2013-01.
I apologize if I read it wrong. And so that would be staff's input of why we would feel that it would be in the best interest of both the citizens of Florence or in the best interest of the community. It's that Town of Florence staff always wants to do things the right way for both our citizens and our future citizens. It would again be up to the council whether they would choose to rescind this ordinance or not rescind this ordinance. Neutrality on agreements, and if the town would be in a worse position if we rescinded this ordinance. Mr. Eckhoff, would you like to speak to conversations that you've held with any developers that are in the area that have a PADA?
Mayor, members of the council, in regards to the rescinding of the development agreements, if the annexation ordinances were rescinded, we have made contact with all parties. We have not received any objections. There was one particular issue that's been addressed. I can tell you in general, the comment that was generally received from most folks was that they hope to have the opportunity to work with the town in the future, somehow, some way. They are all very much interested in coming into the town. One way or another, they will be developing their properties, whether it ends up being unincorporated Pinal County or whether it ends up being the town of Florence, whether it ends up being some other jurisdiction. If they have their choice, they would love to continue to work with the town of Florence and develop their properties in the town.
Does any member of the council have any questions for staff? I know I've got a lot of comments from the public that we should just hold off and do it and wait to see what the court does. That's my indication. But as I take a look at what we're facing, because of irregularities that were performed during the different processes of the annexation, I myself don't see any way that we should go forward. I think that we should go ahead and approve these resolutions that are facing us tonight under them. Do I like it? No. But is it in the best interest of the town? I believe it is. And I just want the people to know that it's, we're going to do it and we're going to do it right. We spend a lot of money on defending our lawsuits. Next time we do it, it'll be done right. And the people that do want to become citizens of Florence will become citizens of Florence. Those that don't, if they live in the area and the proper signatures are gathered, the percentage-wise, they will be brought into the town too. So we're at item B at this time. Is that correct?
You're on new business item B.
On item B.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 633-15, declaring an emergency.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, and I would assume that you're also rescinding ordinance 619-14.
That's what the adoption of this ordinance does.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion to approve ordinance 633-15. At this time, we'll have a roll call vote due it is the emergency.
Councilmember Woolridge.
Aye.
Councilmember Galeen.
Yes.
Councilmember Wall.
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Hawkins.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Walter.
Aye.
Mayor Rankin.
Aye. Motion passes. Now, under the resolutions, Lisa, these are what we talked about. We can do it in a blanket form.
Since the town council did rescind the ordinance that would rescind the annexation of that area, then what we have presented to you is we have presented you a resolution that rescinds each one of your development agreements. The reason why we presented them in this manner is because they were adopted by a resolution and recorded in the Pinal County Recorder's Office. So the intent of this is to put down record in the Pinal County Recorder's Office that anyone that is properly searching for those areas would understand that that document is no longer in place because this annexation did not take place. As we move forward with annexing the unincorporated areas, the documents will be represented and a agreement will be represented to council for ratification and re-recordation at that time.
And
If the council so chooses, they can take and make a motion to adopt all resolutions that would rescind every resolution within the every pre-annexation development agreement within the Magic Ranch area by one motion. The only thing we would ask is that you exclude item N. Item N as in Nancy would be excluded.
so at this time, the chair would entertain a motion to pass resolution starting under new business 8C through 8M, 8O through AA.
Also move.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve.
Can I make a clarification? At this time, you would make a motion to rescind items number 8C through 8M, and then 8O through 8T,
AA.
as in Tom.
What's that?
It would only be O through T. Those ones are the Magic Ranch annexations. When you get to item O, that is another, or item U, that is an ordinance for the Arizona Farms annexation. Those need to be acted on independently and separate.
I'll correct my motion then.
So we're going through T. So the motion is that we approve ordinances 8C through 8M,
Through 8.
80 through 8T. Is that correct?
8C through 8T,
Yeah.
excluding N.
Perfect.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Can I get a roll call vote on that, please?
Thanks, Cliff. Go ahead, roll call, please.
Councilmember Wong,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Galeen,
Yes.
Councilmember Hawkins,
Aye.
Councilmember Woolridge,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Walter,
Aye.
Mayor Rankin.
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Motion carries. Now we can do the same thing under the Arizona Farms.
Under item U is Arizona Farms. It's an ordinance number 634-15, discussion approval, disapproval of an ordinance of the Town of Florence, Pinal County, Arizona, rescinding ordinance number 620-14 with regards to the Arizona Farms annexation petition number 2013-02, providing for severability and declaring an emergency.
Mark, I would assume that the same thing has been taken care of with the Arizona Farm developers as with the Magic Ranch.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, yes, that's correct.
Does any member of the council have any questions of staff? Need a motion to approve ordinance 634-15.
Make a motion to approve resolution 1552-15 to the town of Florence, Pinal County, rescinding resolution number 1478-14 with regard to the pre-annexation and development agreements with Johnson Utility LLC, providing the serviceability and declaring emergency.
To be reading U. You need to read U. Letter U.
I think, John, we're under you.
And I need it done into the mic. I did not pick up one thing that you said. I apologize, sir.
So you want me to make that over again?
Please do.
Okay. Motion to approve resolution 15.
This is
under you.
Let me make the motion. I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 634-15,
I'll second.
declaring an emergency.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 634-15 and declare an emergency. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Woolridge,
Aye.
Councilmember Galeen, Councilmember Galeen,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Wall,
Yes.
Councilmember Hawkins,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Walter,
Aye.
Mayor Rankin.
Aye.
Carried.
Motion carries. And we have the same type of resolution, including from B to AA, and lump them into one motion.
I'll make a motion to approve resolutions 8B through AA, declaring
Second.
an emergency.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolutions B through AA under new business under 8A and declare an emergency. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. We're going to have a roll call vote, please. Cliff, I know what I'm doing there.
Councilmember Woolridge,
Aye.
Councilmember Wall,
Aye.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Galeen,
Yes.
Member Hawkins,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Walter,
Aye.
Mayor Rankin.
Aye. Motion carries. Manager's report, Lisa.
Mayor, members of council, you'll notice that the long-awaited and promised budget calendar is included in your manager's report. This calendar is very different than anything that we have done in the past 2 years. So we wanted to make sure that we were looking at this together to understand what we've done. The items that are highlighted in red on the calendar, those are budget committee action items. If you go to the September 23rd, 2015 date, you will see that we are hosting a public forum to invite citizen input on any future CIP project that citizens would like to have added to our CIP plan. What staff plans on doing is holding these forums to listen to the public and to make a list that can be brought back to council at a later date for possible inclusion in our CIP plan. We've also provided to you the draft of the press release that we plan on sending out and the form that we would like to use to capture the people who show up to that meeting to make sure that they have something to be able to document on, as well as we'll have a transcript of the meeting so that council, if they're not able to attend, can read about what occurred at that meeting. We're excited about this new process. If you will also note that the blue items, they are where the council as a whole is going to sit and be part of this budget process. So tonight, we're talking about the budget calendar. It is on the 8/17. On September 28th, we plan on coming back to the meeting to talk about council's CIP wishes to make sure that they are also included in the plan. We're taking the CIP and we're doing it well up front to take it out of the rigor and urgency of the budget to make sure that we are taking a long-term planning tool, using the CIP as a long-term planning tool for the town of Florence. We're going to make sure that the council goes in and helps staff to set the priorities for the CIP and to make sure that we are allocating the projects in accordance with funding available. It's very important to the future of Florence. If you jump down to November 2nd, you're going to see that council's going to meet again. We're going to have a work session with council, and we're going to talk about the upcoming budget information. What that's going to be is that's going to be where we discuss that magic number that goes out to the special election to say the council is seeking authority to expend XYZ dollars above the expenditure limitation. You're going to see documentation of how the budget committee came up with that number, and we're going to ask for council's permission to move forward with a special election to be able to go forward. If you see on December 21st, after you guys set that number, you're right into where Arizona state statute requires our first public hearing on the special election. When we're advertising the special election, we not only have to tell how much we're going to spend, but we have to tell what the uses for that money is going to be. So that's why it's important that council is involved all along the way, having these meetings, making sure that we are one with our recommendations. We're going to enter into an IGA for election services, and we're going to do a resolution. Staff is going to come to you and say, how do you feel about a mail ballot election? Council's going to make a decision on whether we're going to do a mail ballot election for the special election. Then if you look on July 4th, we're going to hold our second meeting that is going to be the second public hearing on our first special election. And then we're going to convene into a special meeting and you'll vote on the amount that you're going to exceed the expenditure limitation by and the use. That amount and that use will then be rolled into publicity pamphlets that are going to be sent out to each and every voter in this election process. It's very important. On that meeting, we'll also be calling the special election. If you'll note, we jump over to February. In February, we're having a budget update with council. That is going to be a session where the council is going to hear about the budget issues facing the budget committee, as well as we're going to ask for priorities of the council. In order to develop a solid budget, we need to know what council's priorities are for each year. So when the committee and the staff is going in looking at the budget, we have an understanding on what it is that is number 1, 2, and 3 priorities, and we make sure that we fund those areas appropriately. We come down to March, and we have a presentation of the information that we're going to, so what that is where staff is going to come to you. We'll have developed by this point the actual presentation that we will be going out and we will be speaking to the citizens on. Council's going to hear that presentation first. Council's going to be able to tweak that presentation, and then that will be the presentation from the point that we give there to where we start going to all the communities and talking. The importance about this election, council has to remember, our May election is our special election. Our August of 2016 election is where we're going to be talking about our home rule option. So this particular presentation is going to have to incorporate both what happens at the special election, why we're doing that particular election, and then discuss the need for the home rule option for being on the ballot in our primary election. It's a dual-purpose educational opportunity to inform the citizens of why we're holding 2 elections. And then if we come down to April, we're going to hold, well, in April, you're holding the first and second public hearing on the home rule option. The home rule option is actually the primary election that's going to be held in August. We're going to be doing everything that we have to do statutorily at the same period of time before the public votes. It's going to be very important that in everything that we're saying at the council floor, that we can separate those 2 issues out So council is aware of when we talk about a special election, and council is aware of when we talk about a home rule option, and the public's aware and understands what each of them means. So that's going to be part of our publicity that we need to get out, is the education of what those two elections actually mean. And then in April, we're also going to have to go into a special meeting to vote to have the home rule option on the ballot. And then in May, we're going to be calling the election at the same time, basically, that the election is being held for our special election. If you come back into June, at that point, we're presenting the manager's recommended budget. You'll have a manager by then, and he'll be ready to, or she'll be ready to come before you and present the manager's budget to council. And that's going to be done in a work session. Council's going to be encouraged to ask for as many work sessions as necessary to be able to understand the budget and understand the process. And then we're going to go in and go through the rest. But as you can see, without going through everything else, that council has been included in the entire process. Now, the other thing I would like for you to note is the two yellow highlighted areas that are on the different pages. If you look, Florence has always adopted the tentative budget in the third meeting in June. If you look on to page number 4, at the highlighted area, that's the state statute date for when you need to operate and adopt that budget by. So the state law allows you for 4 extra weeks in your budgeting process if necessary. And so in the event that we would not pass the election, staff would be going in and adjusting that calendar to give the council time to be comfortable with that budget that would include cuts in municipal services before we adopt it.
Lisa just read off a whole bunch of things. What it amounts to is that we won't have 2 meetings a month.
What it amounts to is we have taken the input of council to where they'd like to do a budget committee, but we also know that there are members that want to see the full board of the council involved. And what we're trying to do is make sure that quarterly we're going back and we're reporting to council and the full council is involved. By documenting these dates, we're allowing you to hold us accountable because you know exactly what dates are there, what dates we're trying to hit, and if we don't hit those dates, you know when we're behind schedule. All right, so we've given you the tools necessary to hold us accountable.
And working with the new manager, whoever that may be, there could be some changes with the exception of the election count or the budget calendar for the election. That we've got to stick to thick and thin. We've got to have that. The other meetings, there may be the manager may have different ideas or whatever.
They will have the ability to come in and change everything,
right,
but they'll also understand that if council adopts a calendar, it's council's adopted calendar.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions of Lisa's report?
There's I don't know if it's that critical right now or if you want to do this later. There's several dates here that I'm sure are typo errors, but on page 2, add to the newspaper, it says 2017.
Oh, no, that's 2016.
Okay, and then on down, you got for post the sample ballots, it's 2015, I think it's supposed to be 16.
16. It's in chronological order, so anywhere that the date is off by a year, that's my error. I apologize.
Okay, well, I just didn't want us to get caught up with somebody finding that later and challenge us in court on it. That's only
No,
reason.
we're gonna do all the dates correctly. To take 3 different processes and cycle them into one calendar, checking all the statute to make sure you're hitting every mark,
okay,
and then to calendar out dates up to 2017. I apologize if there's any typographical errors.
Okay. But I just didn't want to, like I say, I wanted to cover our bases because on all these lawsuits and stuff, people digging or whatever they can find.
Does anybody else have any questions of the manager's report? Get your meeting shoes on, folks. We got a bunch of them.
I'd like to compliment the acting town manager for putting this together for us. This is, I think this is what we were looking for from a budget standpoint.
Okay.
I think the whole staff has done exceptionally well during this period of uncertainties.
Well, so we're really not uncertain. We know where we're going. We're going forward. We're not going to go backwards. And we got the staff to go forward with. So at this time, I agree with you, Bill. Call to the public. Second call to the public. Anybody from the public have anything they'd like to say?
Good evening, Mayor, Town Council. I had a question on the emergency declaration under ARS 19.
Your name?
My name is John Dantico. Live at, do you need my address?
Yes.
5597 East Dionysus, Florence, Arizona, 5132. On the question of the emergency declaration, ARS 19-142.b says that an emergency measure shall not become immediately operative unless it states in a separate section the reason why it is necessary that it should become immediately operative. And my question is that the description and the answer to the question that was posed in the first opening call to the public was described the effects of the emergency, but not what the emergency itself is. And so I'd like to understand what specifically is the emergency that allows the emergency to be declared.
We'll direct that to our staff to get with you after the meeting.
Okay, and the next one is on the adoption of the rescissions on 8N regarding CMG 900 LLC was excluded. Is there a reason why that one was excluded? Is there a problem of potential liability, or what's the deal on that one?
Again, that'll have to be answered after our staff can kind of give you an idea on that.
Okay. And then one of the challenges dealt with ARS 9-461-11 on extraterritorial jurisdiction. And I was wondering if how the town plans to deal with that particular issue.
Again, you have to talk to our staff on that. I'll direct staff to get with you. They can explain it.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Any other member of the public? Seeing none, I'll close call to the public. Call to the council. John?
I would just like to express my sorrow in the passing of Mayor Vicky. She was a wonderful lady. She did so much for the town, so much for us individually. We all lost a great friend.
Beck?
I too would like to express my condolences to her family and also my sorrow. Vicky did, though, realize the one greatest thing that she wanted to have was a swimming pool for the children of Florence, and at least she got to see that in her lifetime. The other thing I'd like to compliment Wayne, I went through all of your RCAs. You do a beautiful job fully explaining things, and I really appreciate seeing that again on our agendas. Thank you.
Bill?
I have nothing other than, yeah, it's too bad for Vicky. I mean, yeah, we lost a good person there. Yeah.
Karen?
I too am sad over the loss of Vicky and send my condolences to her family and friends. Vicky was our mayor at the time we moved to Arizona, and one of the things I admired about her was her efforts to make sure that all of the areas within Florence were considered one community, and that continues to be my hope and what I intend to work towards. Thank you.
Valerie?
My thoughts and prayers also go out to Vicky's family.
Tara?
I would like to also take everything that everybody put together. Vicky was an amazing person. She lived her life for the town of Florence and the citizens. She gave a lot of her service, and in that my thoughts and prayers are with her and her family at this time.
As we all talk about Vicki and we talk about sorrow, let's take a look at some of the things that Vicki liked. She liked the Women's Club. She liked the ladies in the Women's Club. Vicki had a sense of humor, too. You had to see it. Sometimes it was more English than it was American. But Vicki was, like I said, her and I had elections against each other. She beat me, but she was always my friend. She told me a couple months after she got elected, she said, "Why didn't you win?" But Vicki did her job, and that's what she wanted to do. There at the last, Vicki, she was always thinking about Florence, thinking about the kids, thinking about the good times, and we're going to miss her. We also lost another advocate of Florence this last week, and that's Roe Gilbert. Roe passed away. He was with the Arizona Rangers downtown. They had services for him today. But from what I understand, the Arizona Rangers downtown will be moving out of that building. So, and the building's owned by Tom Smith, so hopefully something will be coming in there. And the last thing I got to say, 37 years ago, I was blessed with my baby girl being born. And Jessica is now the mother of 5 children. She's 37 years old. Her mother's a lot older than when she had her. I've kept my youth. But I just like to say happy birthday to my daughter, Jessica Rice, and I love you very much, honey. Need a motion?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
Have a motion and second adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We're adjourned.